Today we will continue to read from Srimad Valmiki Ramayana, and today we will be covering part 2 of Sundara Kanda. In the previous class, we saw part 1. We saw about Hanuman's flight over the ocean and the different demons he encountered, the different problems he encountered, and the different lessons we learn from this encounter. And then finally we saw how Hanuman, after entering Lanka, he met Lankini, the guardian of Lanka, and after conquering her and going through different places in Lanka, finally Hanuman arrived at the entrance of Ravana's palace. So this is exactly where we stopped in the previous class. So we'll continue from there today. Start off with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gurum Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Nitanamne Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitanamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschaya Videshtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we'll offer prayers to Valmiki, Hanuman and Lord Sri Ramachandra. Kujantam Ramaramiti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavitavanacharina Shrinvan Ramakathanathan Konayate Paramgatim Vedavedye Parepumsi Jati Dasharatatmaje Veda Pracheta Sadasit Sakshat Ramayanatmana Anjananandanam Veeram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapisha Makshahantaram Vande Lanka Bhayankaram Manojavam Marudatunya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayuda Mukyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Anjaneya Madhipatanalanam Kanchanadri Kamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarumulavasinam Bhavayami Pavamananandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Krita Mastakanjalim Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam Shri Raghavam Dasharatatmajam Aprameyam Sitapatim Raghukulanmaya Ratna Devam Ajanubahum Aravinda Dayala Daksham Ramam Nishachara Vinashakam Namami. So we are in the most beautiful section of the Ramayana, which is the Sundara Kanda. And as I mentioned, we stopped at a point where Hanuman crossed over the ocean, landed in Lanka, and then he went through many places in Lanka. He went through many homes and palaces, and finally he spotted the most beautiful, magnificent palace of all, which was the palace of Ravana, and he stopped there. So that is where we stopped in our previous class. So we will continue from there. So Hanuman, he saw a very, very beautiful, magnificent palace, which was the palace of Ravana. And this palace in particular was very, very huge. And it was guarded by a variety of army of divisions and Rakshasas. All of them had huge bodies and they were carrying different weapons in their hands. So when Hanuman saw this beautiful palace, it was looking like a cloud of different colors. So when he was just about to enter the compound of this palace, towards the side, Hanuman also noticed a very big structure. So he was very curious what it was. So he turned around and started walking towards that structure. It was actually the great Vimana, Pushpaka Vimana, which is capable of traveling very long distances, and it was engineered by Vishwakarma. And we have seen that Ravana had actually acquired it from his brother Kubera. So this Pushpaka Vimana was standing there. It was the parking place, you can say, of the Pushpaka Vimana there. So Hanuman started walking towards that, and he saw the beauty of the Pushpaka that is described in the Valmiki Ramayana. So the entire Pushpaka Vimana was shining with so many precious stones, and it was very beautifully decorated with different artificial birds made of different gemstones. like cat eye gemstones, silver, coral, and different kinds of serpents and various jewels were all embedded on the plane. Everything was carved. The images of horses, serpents, the images of different animals, birds, all that was carved throughout on the Pushpaka Vimana. Then, when he was about to enter inside the Vimana, he saw something very interesting. He saw a particular image. Now, this image had elephants in the lotus pool, and these elephants were holding lotus petals in their trunks, and they were on either side of a very, very beautiful image of goddess Lakshmi. So this goddess Lakshmi's image also had 4 graceful hands, and she was holding lotuses in her hand. This particular image of goddess Lakshmi, Gaja Lakshmi actually, Lakshmi guarded by 2 elephants, was seen in the Pushpaka Vimana. So it is very interesting to see the character of Ravana. He had Lakshmi Devi being worshipped in his Vimana, and there he has actually kidnapped the same Lakshmi Devi and kept her in Ashokavan. So, in fact, even today, when you go to different ancient temples, many you can see even to this day in South India, when you go to all the major temples, in the entrance of the main altar on top, if you look at the top part of the entrance of the main altar, you will always see Gajalakshmi. She typically guards all the places, actually, all the ancient, you can say, temples, the altars. She guards many huge structures. She's always propitiated at the entrance of any place. So even the Pushpaka Vimana had the image of goddess Lakshmi, and she was worshipped by Ravana. But still the same Ravana was so ignorant that he captured Sita against her will. So this is a very interesting point about the beautiful Pushpaka Vimana. So anyway, Hanuman, he went inside and he started searching the entire Vimana. And in his mind, he was thinking of how this Ravana actually carried away Sita Devi in this particular airplane. So he was thinking maybe there is a good chance that Sita could still be found here. Ravana could have hidden her here. So he went and searched everywhere for Vaidehi in all the chambers, but he couldn't find her. So then finally, he was very upset. He thought, okay, this now I have to only enter the main palace. So finally he got down from this airplane and he started walking inside the chambers of the main palace. So he walked inside, and this building of Ravana, that is the main palace of Ravana, was actually half a yojana long and 1 yojana tall. So you can imagine the size of Ravana's residence. So Hanuman walked inside and he started searching everywhere for Sita, and he walked inside the inner chambers of Ravana's palace, and there he saw many beautiful women that Ravana had brought from various places. He had abducted many women. He had abducted many apsaras. He had kidnapped the daughters of great personalities like rishis, and he had several Rakshashi women inside. So all the queens and all the women kidnapped by Ravana and all the women acquired by Ravana, all of them were inside the inner chambers. And the inner chambers was looking so beautiful. It had so much wealth. All the wealth that Kubera had, whatever riches Indra has, that amount of affluence was actually seen inside Ravana's palace. And this wealth was without any reduction. The wealth would never reduce, always very rich. And as he walked inside the inner chambers and went inside, he went to a particular section on that palace. This place was the most beautiful part of the palace. And there were very beautiful beds and couches, and the entire region looked like heaven. And particularly, there was one gorgeous bed. And that bedstead of that bed was made with crystal. It was decorated with diamonds, and it had parts made of ivory and gold. And the entire couch was covered with very fine, soft sheets. And as you can guess, it was Ravana who was lying on that bed. And it was nighttime. Ravana was sleeping on the bed, and he was being fanned by the women around. And very beautiful fragrances, very heavenly fragrances were coming out from the inner chambers. And this bed was so beautifully decorated, and all the women were very, very sincerely fanning Ravana while he was going to sleep. Now, at that time, Hanuman saw this Ravana. Ravana was looking like a huge cloud. He was wearing earrings which were shining so brilliantly. His eyes were reddish in color. He had long arms, and he was wearing golden colored clothes. His entire body was smeared with sandalwood, which had very good fragrance. He was covered with excellent jewelry, and he had a very, very majestic appearance. He looked like Mount Mandara in sleep. So when Hanuman sighted Ravana like this, he was actually taken aback, and then he moved a bit. He went away to a nearby staircase and slowly began to observe Ravana closely. He saw how Ravana was sleeping. Ravana's arms were decorated with different kinds of armlets, and his arms, that is his biceps and triceps of Ravana, were full of wounds from all the fights that he had had. His muscles were very strong, and he had very broad shoulders. Hanuman could see the different marks of the tusks of elephants and the Vajrayuddha of Indra. And he saw the power, the majestic appearance of Ravana, and he was assessing the strength of Ravana standing near the staircase. Then, around this huge Ravana was lying down. At that time, actually, Hanuman sees Ravana only had one head. So it is said that Ravana could assume 10 heads when he wanted during the time of war and other situations. But now Ravana was sleeping with one head, and he was looking so majestic with all this beautiful jewelry adorning him. So at that time, Ravana saw many women in that inner chambers. There were so many women sitting on the carpet, and they were all hugging various instruments, and all of them were intoxicated, including Ravana. Everybody was intoxicated, and these intoxicants were like no intoxicant of this world. It was from the heavenly world, heavenly intoxicants. So Hanuman was like totally amazed looking at all of them. And he just thought in his mind, actually this Ravana is so strong. He's also so learned. He's so learned in the Vedas. He has everything. He has all the wealth. He has everything. What does he not have? He has everything. But still, he has this very, very severe disease called as envy, and his desire to enjoy others' wives. So all the wealth, all the boons, everything he has, he's actually utilizing for the wrong purpose. So everything has got wasted. So Hanuman himself, he was not attracted by all this wealth and beauty around him. He was only looking for Sita. Everywhere he saw, he was only looking for Sita. Nothing was very interesting to him. Because when a person is very hungry, you go and give him a diamond, will it satisfy his hunger? It won't, right? So Hanuman was seeing so much opulence. He was seeing the best of material enjoyment available in all the three worlds in Ravana's chambers. But all that he wanted was actually just to get a glimpse of Sita and go and give this message to Ram. So he was very, very dedicated in his service to Lord Ramchandra. Then, so Hanuman continued to assess what else was there in these inner chambers. And suddenly, Hanuman saw among all these women a very, very beautiful woman sleeping on a very nice couch that was at the side of the room. Okay, it was a separate couch, it was a separate bed, and she was sleeping there. She was looking very, very beautiful. Muktamani samayuktir bhushanai suvibhushitam vibhushayantim ivacha cha swashriya bhavana uttamam gaurim kanaka varna abham ishtam antapura ishvarim kapirmanda udarim tatra shayanam charu rupinim. Hanuman saw Mandodari, the favorite wife of Ravana, with a very beautiful form decorated with diamonds and pearls. She had a very fair complexion, like golden color, and Hanuman, seeing this very beautiful woman decorated so well, out of simple logic thought, this must be Sita, by her wealth, by her appearance and youth. And he became very, very happy. So this is very interesting. Hanuman, he saw Mandodari lying down on a very gorgeous bed. Seeing the beauty, the youth, and the wealth that Mandodari had, he thought, oh, finally I have found Sita. So he thought like that, And what did he do thinking like that? Ashpotayamasa chuchumbapucham nananda chikrida jagau jagama stambana rohani papapata bhumau nidarshayan swam prakritim kapinam. So Hanuman, who was super, super excited, he clasped his arms, started kissing his tail, and he became so delighted. He was playing, he was jumping up and down, he sang, he started climbing pillars, and he fell down from the pillars onto the land. He was exhibiting all the qualities of a monkey. So his mind was like a monkey at that time. When he saw this beautiful woman, immediately he concluded, this must be Sita. And he got so excited, he started kissing his tail. He started kissing his tail and he started jumping, just showing his monkey-like nature. Valmiki says he was just exhibiting his monkey-like nature. Actually, Hanuman began kissing his tail in excitement. In India, if someone is very mischievous and, if they're doing a lot of mischief, we ask them, do you have a tail? So you're behaving like a monkey, so do you have a tail? So for us, tail is something not we should be proud of, Generally, human beings, we don't have tails. So if someone says, do you have a tail, that means they are kind of asking you, why are you behaving like this? So it is not something to be proud of. But for a monkey, a tail is a matter of pride. He considers it as his greatest asset. He loves his tail, actually. A monkey always loves his tail. So he was so happy. I came all the way. I found Sita. He was thinking like that, and he started kissing his tail. And he was jumping up and down like a monkey. Now, then Hanuman was showing his restless monkey-like nature, because here it says in the verse, Nidarshayam swam prakritim kapinam. Prakriti, it is the nature of a kapi. It is the nature of a monkey to behave like that. So he showed his inherent nature. And he was actually for a minute thinking that this is Sita. Then what happened was, after all this excitement, after all this jumping and kissing and doing all this, Hanuman, he just sat down for a minute quietly and began to think. So this is very, very important. Actually, even when we are raising kids, when the kids get very excited and they're doing all kinds of things, we tell them, okay, stop now, go sit in a corner and think for a minute. So like that, Hanuman told himself, wait, let me think for a minute. He went and he sat down in a corner. So, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, from wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, we must try to withdraw it and bring it back under our control. So this mind is actually like a small child. The nature of small children is to actually go and get into trouble. So when there is a small child in your house, say a small toddler, 1.5 years old or 2 years old in our house, and he's just learned to run around, what happens? The first thing the parents do in that house is to keep everything safe in the room. The electric points are child safe, the furniture is child safe, the car becomes child safe, there is a child lock, the windows just don't open easily, everything is locked, everything is kept super safe. But somehow or the other, this little child, he ends up finding a very sharp object. He'll go pick a knife or he'll go pick a razor from somewhere. So these kids growing up, these toddlers, they're never fond of soft toys or things that are child-friendly. All that they want to do is they want to go and explore something that is very unsafe. Why is it? Because that's the nature of the child. And what is the nature of the mother? The nature of the mother is wherever the child runs, whatever dangerous situation he gets into, she keeps bringing back the child to safety. So our intelligence is like the mother and the mind is like a child. Therefore, the intelligence has to keep bringing the mind back. Though the mind is going everywhere, the intelligence job is to bring the mind back. So when the nature of the mind is such that when we see someone, doing something, we judge immediately. We always have preconceived notions. Oh, she's always like that. She can't do anything properly. She's this, she's that. But actually, if we sit down in a corner and think quietly, we can understand that we're simply judging based on some ideas that we have, some preconceived notions, external things. It's always said that don't judge a book by its cover, right? So Hanuman, for a second, he got excited, thinking that this is Sita with his monkey-like mind, and immediately he paused for a second and he gave work for his intelligence. He told his intelligence to take over. So he sat down. He thought with his proper intelligence, controlling the mind, bringing the mind back. He thought, Na ramena viyukta sa swaptum arhati bhamini na bhoktum na api alankritum na panam upasevitum na anyanaram upastatum suranam api cha ishwaram na hi rama samah kaschit vidyate triratishvapi anyayam iti nishchitya panabhumau chacharasa. That Sita, he was thinking to himself, giving work to his intelligence. He was thinking that Sita will never sleep separated from Ram, first thing. She will not eat. She will not decorate herself. She will not even drink anything. Or why would she reach for another man? Even if he was Indra, she won't go for any other man because there's no one equal to Ram in all of these worlds. So this is definitely not Sita. It is some other woman. So giving work to his intelligence, he came to a conclusion that this is not Sita. I'm sure this is not Sita. So thinking like that, he ran away from that place. Then what happened after that? Hanuman, he started walking away from there, and he continued to search. He was convinced this cannot be Sita. It must be one of Ravana's queens. Thinking like that, he went away, and he saw hundreds of women continue to see in different corridors as he was walking. He saw so many women decorated very beautifully, and they were all sleeping in the night. And a lot of description, actually entire chapters about how these women were sleeping is explained, but we will not get into those details. So anyhow, he saw thousands of women everywhere in the palace, and then he walked along, and he went and he spotted a great wine room, that is the bar of Ravana's palace. It is so interesting. Again, Valmiki, he goes on to describe the bar of Ravana to great details. It actually puts all the bars and pubs of today's world to shame. His bar was filled with so many intoxicants, and there's a vivid description given of all these intoxicants and the seating arrangement in his bar. So all this is given. And then he goes on to the main kitchen, palace kitchen. And there, because this is the palace of the Rakshasas, he saw what all meats were kept. He saw that Ravana had, in the palace kitchen, they had the meat of deer, buffalo, pig, goat, porcupine, varieties of birds like peacock and waterfowls and chicken, and so many kinds of fish. Again, we don't want to get into those details, but this is just to give an idea of what kind of food these Rakshasas were having. So he observed everything very keenly, and then he walked out of the hallways, and then again he saw thousands of women on his way back. And among all these women, everywhere he was seeing Hanuman, he was very keenly searching for Sita among all the women. Then suddenly, Hanuman had a fear in his heart. He was thinking to himself, what am I doing actually? In the night, I'm going through the chambers of all women and I'm trying to find Sita there, right? So I'm looking at so many women in the night. I'm a brahmachari. Isn't it against my dharma to go like this and walk amidst women and look at how they are sleeping? Am I really doing the right thing? So he questions himself. Logically, he questions himself. He's trying to put a check on his activities, Hanuman. There is actually so much to learn from Hanuman. Every little action of Hanuman teaches us something. So Hanuman, being a strict brahmachari, he started thinking, see, these senses are very powerful. What am I doing? I'm just walking among women, that too when they are sleeping. Am I really doing the right thing? So again, he thought for a minute, is it okay? Is it okay to do this? He was thinking. Then he logically thought, he was reasoning to himself, and he himself gave himself an answer. He said, I am doing this because I'm trying to search for Sita. Okay? If I'm searching for Sita, I should look amidst women. If I'm looking for a woman, I'm supposed to look among women. If I'm looking for a deer, I must go to the herd of deer and I must search there. So there is nothing wrong in what I am doing. So he says, Mano hi hetu sarvesham indriyanam pravartate shubha ashubhasva avasthau tatcha me suvyavastitam na anyarta hi maya shakya vaidehi parimargitum. All auspicious and inauspicious states of behavior of the senses are actually from an uncontrolled mind. What is the problem as long as my mind is steady? See, our senses are very difficult to control. Why is our sense very difficult to control? Why this auspicious and inauspicious state of behavior of the senses happen? It is actually because of the mind. The mind is the ruler of the senses. So Hanuman is telling himself, as long as my mind is steady, I should not worry about my senses going out of control. He tells himself, if I have to search for Sita, I have to look amidst women. So I'm going to continue to look amidst women. And moreover, Hanuman was very, very confident that his mind was fixed in the service of Lord Ramachandra. So there is no scope for his mind to think of something that is inferior. He was not thinking, oh, I have a very steady mind. He was not proud of himself. He was thinking, since my mind is fixed in the service of Lord Ramachandra, it will not flicker, it will not falter. Why? Because it has a higher taste. Mind by nature is looking for something higher. So when you have iPhone 5, you want iPhone 6. When iPhone 6 is on the market, we look out for a better option, we want iPhone 7. So like that, the desire goes on and on and on as the model gets better. We always are seeking for the best in the world, the best enjoyment. I have a 2-bedroom house, I want a 4-bedroom house. It's the nature of the mind. That is our human nature. That's what we want. So we are always looking for something higher. But however, when the mind is fixed on the best, meaning there is nothing better than this, then where is the question of the mind faltering? Hanuman reasons with himself. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo bandhaya vishaya sango muktiyai nirvishayam mana. So for a man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage and mind detached from the sense objects is the cause of liberation. Therefore, the mind which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness is the cause of supreme liberation. This is there in Bhagavad Gita 6.5, purport by Srila Prabhupada. He quotes Amrita Bindu Upanishad here. So this is from Prabhupada's purport about how the mind, depending on what happens with the mind, that is, mind is the cause of both bondage and mind can be the cause of liberation. How can it become the cause of liberation? By engaging in Krishna consciousness, trying to catch something higher. So we all know this very famous Bhagavad Gita verse 259, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So higher taste. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object always remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in Krishna consciousness. So it is difficult to, that is, the senses are always looking for the sense objects. So it is very difficult for us to withdraw from that. It must be engaged. The senses must be engaged. But what is the best method of engaging it? By fixing it in a higher taste. By fixing your mind in Krishna consciousness, the mind can be controlled. So this is exactly what Hanuman was advising himself and doing. He was thinking, though I'm searching among women, the senses can go uncontrolled. I must control the mind. And how can the mind be controlled? By always being fixed in service, mind can be controlled. So Hanuman gives himself a short Bhagavad Gita class there. Then he says to himself, as long as my mind is fixed in the service of Ramchandra, I should not worry. So he consoled himself and he started proceeding further. And then he went from one house to the other looking for Sita, and he pretty much couldn't find her anywhere. So he couldn't find her in the palace, he couldn't find her near a Pushpaka, he couldn't find her in the palaces of the brothers of Ravana, the sons of Ravana. He couldn't find her anywhere. Then he goes into the city and pretty much goes to each and every house in the city, and still he doesn't find her. He gets very, very upset. And for 1 minute, it is mentioned that Hanuman even thinks that maybe Sita is dead. That's why I'm not able to find her. He thinks for himself that all my efforts have gone vain. What will I go and tell Rama? What will Sugriva do if he knows that I didn't find Sita? Everybody will be devastated. He began to think like that. He sat down, very, very depressed. And Hanuman even thought of suicide because he couldn't find Sita. He didn't feel like going back to the mainland saying that I didn't find Sita. So he was thinking the best thing to do is just die here. So he even thought of suicide. Then, as usual, Hanuman's nature, then there is a problem. He never permanently sits down in depression. Hanuman's nature throughout, you can see, he always encourages himself. He goes through all these emotions just like us. We all go through situations and we feel depressed. And when we see huge problems, we feel this is the end of the world. But there is so much to learn from Hanuman. So Hanuman, he slowly began encouraging himself. So this is a very important lesson we learn from Hanuman. Although we all go through different situations, we are put through so many tests. Everything may be going out of hand, but we must always take inspiration from Hanuman, get out of the depression and face the problem, because this is not the end of the world. So like Hanuman, we must always think as long as the Lord is with us, we can get out of any problem. The more we get closer to the Lord, the more easily fear from our hearts is dispelled. So what did Hanuman do? Hanuman, he was thinking, what will everyone say? What will Sugriva say? What will Angada say? What will Rama think? Okay, first he thinks of all this. Oftentimes, more than the problem itself, the actual problem is finding Sita and giving Sita to Ram. Even with us, oftentimes, more than the problem itself, we get worried about what others think of us. What will he say if this is not done? What will they think of me? Like that. That is our act. If we look inside ourselves, we are more worried about these things rather than the actual problem itself. The actual problem by itself may not be a big deal to us if we think properly. The actual problem by itself is not a great deal. We know somehow it's okay. But we are more worried about the opinion of others. So there is more, we are worried about the reactions of others, which appears to be very, very big. So similarly, Hanuman again started reasoning with himself. He was thinking, actually, what am I worried about? Am I worried about what Sugriva will think or what Jambavan will say? What will they think of me? Is that my worry? Or is my worry that Rama will be devastated without Sita? If Sita is not found, Ram will be devastated. Actually, that is my real worry. That is my real worry. So I must not sit down in depression now. I must not sit down. I should know what is my goal. If I sit down in depression, I'm not going to accomplish anything. So I have to get up and somehow accomplish this task in hand. Anirveda shriyo moolam, anirveda param sukham, anirvedo hi satatam, sarva arteshu pravartaka. Hanuman begins to encourage himself saying, steady mind is the root of all happiness and well-being. So somehow I must endeavor with enthusiasm without getting into depression. So he had this enthusiasm to serve without giving up. So Hanuman decided, I will now again get up and go and search again and again. I will go to every nook and corner of this land. I will search in all the places again and again till I find Sita. So he goes on. He goes again and again to each and every house again. He searches every corner of Lanka. And still, Hanuman, after all the search, he doesn't find her anywhere. Then he begins to think, again, I am failing. I am not able to find Sita anywhere. If I don't find Sita, Rama will be very troubled. And seeing the troubled state of Ram, Lakshmana will die. Seeing Lakshmana dead, Bharata will die, Shatrughna will die. The king of the monkeys, Sugriva, will die because he couldn't fulfill the promise of Ram. Angada will die, Tara will die, Ruma will die. All the Vanaras will drink poison and die, or all of them will enter fire. And I will be the sole cause of the death of the entire Ikshvaku dynasty and the Vanaras. And I cannot do this. I cannot go back without Sita. Somehow or the other, I should find Sita. Then Hanuman sat down and again gave work for his intelligence. Hanuman thought, what happened before coming here? He carefully thought, what happened? What happened before I came here, before I crossed the ocean? Sampati, we all met Sampati. Sampati had mentioned that Sita is surely there here in this land of Lanka. And Sampati cannot be wrong. Sampati was very confident. He said he is able to see Sita. So Sita is definitely here. She must be there somewhere for sure. I have to assess everything properly. I should think of the long-term and short-term effects, and I should think of the proper mind. Maybe my search is not complete. I have to continue to search and somehow find Sita. So at that time, Hanuman, while he was looking around, he spotted the Ashoka gardens, very, very beautiful gardens. And he thought, how come I missed searching this place? At that time, Hanuman, he understood why he missed searching this place. Because all this while, Hanuman thought that I must find Sita. I am searching for Sita. But the real truth and reality of the matter is that only if Sita Devi decides to reveal herself to Hanuman, Hanuman will be able to find her. So Hanuman understood that he is an instrument and nothing more than that. And once Hanuman got this understanding, he spotted the Ashokavana and he began to pray to Sita Devi and Ram and Lakshman and all the demigods. So what did he pray? He said, Namostu Ramaya Lakshmanaya Daivyai cha tasyai Janakatmajayai Namostu Rudra Indra Yama Anilebhyo Namostu Chandra Arka Marut Ganebhyo. Obeisances to Rama together with Lakshmana and Janaki. Without Janaki's mercy, I am not able to see her. Only if she decides to reveal herself to me will I be able to find her. He also paid his obeisances to Rudra, Indra, Yama and Vayu. So he paid his obeisances to everyone, and Hanuman entered this beautiful garden. So this beautiful, beautiful garden, Ashokavana, was one of the most beautiful gardens in the entire Lanka. And the garden had beautiful trees like sal tree, Ashoka trees. Mainly it had a lot of Ashoka trees. That's why it is called as the Ashoka Vatika or Ashokavan, because it had so many Ashoka trees. Not only did it have Ashoka trees, it also had sal trees, Champaka trees, Udgala, Naga, mango trees, like that. So many different kinds of trees and such beautiful, beautiful flowers of all colors and very, very exotic fragrances. So Hanuman, he entered this Ashoka gardens and he began jumping from one tree to the other, and he was frantically trying to see if Sita was there anywhere. He saw very beautiful ponds with a lot of water and beautiful birds and animals and creepers and flowering plants. He saw everything. And then there he saw also a very, very beautiful lake. And in his mind at that time, he somehow had a feeling. I have a very strong feeling that Sita will surely come here. I know, I have a feeling she will come to this garden. She will come to drink water from this lake. So Hanuman, thinking like that, he went up a large Ashoka. He climbed up a large tree, and he was thinking like this. And suddenly, not very far away from where he was sitting, in the middle of that garden, he saw a lofty temple-like structure. Like a shelter. It was like when you go for yatra. When you go to different holy places, there will be mantapas, right, for people to sit. So like that, Hanuman, he saw a lofty temple-like structure which was filled with fragrance, and it was looking like Gandhamandana mountain. It was perfectly white like Mount Kailash, and the stairs of this mantap were made of corals with platforms made of refined gold. There, Hanuman saw Sita Devi wearing a soiled garment, surrounded by Rakshasa women, totally emaciated due to fasting, looking very miserable. She was sighing again and again, and she was looking like a crescent moon at the beginning of a bright fortnight. So this is how Valmiki describes how Sita was looking. She was so emaciated. She was so thin. She was so sad. She was so depressed. She was wearing a yellow sari, and she was sighing again and again, thinking about Ram. When will Ram come? And how does he describe her? He says she was looking like a pure crescent moon at the beginning of a bright fortnight. So there is a lot of meaning to this. Sita Devi had become so emaciated and thin, so she's compared to a crescent moon of the bright fortnight. So when the moon, during the, you have Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha, right? So as the moon, first the moon, it's a crescent moon, then it becomes a little more bigger, it becomes bigger, then you have the full moon. So this Sita Devi was looking like the moon during, like, say, Pratama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, that time, how the moon looks. She was looking like that because she was so emaciated. She was looking so miserable. But why did Valmiki choose to use the crescent moon of a bright fortnight? Because Sita is always Sita. Whether she's thin or she's healthy, her glory never diminishes. So she was always radiant like the bright fortnight. She was radiant like a flame covered with smoke. She was adorned with a very beautiful yellow color sari. The sari was very wrinkled. It was very soiled. She had no decorations, and she was looking like a lotus plant without any lotuses on it, covered with mud. And she looked very tortured by all the Rakshasi surrounding her. So then when Hanuman saw this woman sitting there who's so beautiful but yet looking so sad, he could understand on logical grounds that this is Sita. So in fact, Hanuman even remembers seeing the same woman along with his Vanara friends when she was being carried away by Ravana. Remember, we have seen this part in one of our previous classes, about how Sita throws away her garments, bundling it up. She throws away the garments, spotting Vanaras. So at that time, Hanuman recognized this is the woman who was carried away in the Pushpaka Vimana. I know for sure. So seeing her beauty and her bodily identifications, he could recognize for sure that this is Sita. And Hanuman was thinking in his mind, how this beautiful-eyed Sita, when he was seeing Sita, he was just seeing her again and again and again. And he was thinking, she's so beautiful. This beautiful-eyed Sita is the perfect match for Rama, and Rama is the perfect match for Sita. They are really made for each other. So he was so happy in his heart, actually. He had found Sita, and he saw how beautiful they are. How beautiful is Ram, and how beautiful is Sita, and how beautiful is this pair, Ram Sita. So he was thinking about that. And he praised the glories of Ram and Sita. He brought the image of Lord Ramachandra in his mind. He saw the beautiful form of Sita in front of his eyes, and he paired them together, and he was so happy, and he began praising their glories in his mind. So at this point, there is an interesting commentary about why only Hanuman was chosen for this particular task of finding Sita. Why Hanuman when there are so many monkeys? Is it because he's Vayuputra and he can fly? Because he could fly over the ocean, he was chosen? Actually not. Hanuman's flying capacity comes only from the ring that he has in his hand, Lord Ramachandra's ring. Lord Ramachandra's ring in his hand actually made him fly. It is not Hanuman's own capacity that made him fly. So Ram could have chosen any monkey. Why did Ram particularly give the ring to Hanuman? So it is explained by some of the previous Vaishnava Acharyas that Hanuman actually for a second in his mind, it seems, he thought when Lord Ramachandra was wailing in separation of Sita, and when he was asking Sugriva for help and all the Vanaras had gathered to go and find this woman, Hanuman was thinking in his mind, why is this Ram so depressed because his wife is lost? The entire Vanara community is searching for a woman. What makes him so attached to a woman? Ram is such a great king. Why so much attachment to women after all? So at that time, Ram, who is the super soul within everyone's heart, thought, this is the Vanara who must actually go and see Sita. Then he will understand why Sita is so precious. So when Hanuman saw Sita in Ashoka gardens, that's when he was thinking, I can now understand why this Ram was suffering so much in separation from Sita. In fact, Hanuman goes on thinking about the glories of Sita, and he even thinks, I'm even surprised how this hard-hearted Ram is even able to live. How is he able to hold his life? Why is he not giving up his life being separated from such a wife? I'm surprised that he's not yet dead from grief. Whatever Ram is doing, holding his life itself is an impossible task. Who can be separated from such a wonderful wife? So like that, Hanuman was so happy when he saw Sita. He was so happy that he found Sita, and he was so happy about the beautiful, the pair, Ram and Sita. He was just glorifying them in his mind. Then he confirmed in his mind, yes, this is Sita. Now I understand why Ram was suffering so much. He was completely convinced, and leaning against the branch of a tree, he sat there and he was waiting for the right moment. So slowly, time went by and the moon began to rise in the sky, and Sita's face, which was actually like a moon, began sinking down with grief. The moon was rising, Sita's face was sinking, and she was surrounded by horrible, horrible Rakshasis. Some Rakshasis had one eye, some with one ear, some had flattened nose till the head. They all looked very scary. Some were straight, some were hunched back. Oh, they were all very, very scary. And Sita, who is the personification of all beauty, was sitting there in an ocean of grief, surrounded by all these horrific demoniac Rakshasis. And Hanuman, the more and more and more he was looking at Sita and this condition, his eyes were filled with tears. In one side, he was so happy that he found Sita, and at the same time, he was feeling so depressed seeing her condition, and he was crying. Tears were just flowing and flowing from his eyes. So he was thankful that he found Sita anyway, and he paid obeisances to Ram, Lakshman, and he covered himself with leaves so that he remained unnoticed. He was still waiting for the right moment. So, as the early morning came, so the whole night passed by, Hanuman was crying, looking at the pitiable state of Sita. The night passed by, he didn't jump down because he knew that Sita was guarded by Rakshasis. Then the sun rose, and Hanuman heard Vedic sounds early in the morning of all these Brahma Rakshasas who were well versed in Vedas, who were reciting in Lanka. Then Ravana was woken up by the sounds of various auspicious musical instruments in his palace. So it was morning, Ravana was waking up. So when Ravana was waking up itself, he was thinking about beautiful Sita. He was so filled with lust and desire that he couldn't stop thinking of her even for a minute. So as soon as Ravana got up, he hastily got ready very fast. He went, he took his bath, he decorated himself with all the ornaments possible. Ravana came with nice beautifications. He rushed out to Ashokavan to come and see Sita. So this beautifully decorated Ravana came rushing to see Sita first thing in the morning. He saw Sita, who was dull without any ornaments. Valmiki is describing like that. He's just comparing notes. See this Ravana, he's decorated himself so nicely with all the ornaments, and poor Sita, she's without any decorations. She's looking so frail and thin and so sad. So this Ravana comes to see this Sita. So while he was walking towards Sita, hundreds of beautiful women walked behind him, just like how Deva and Gandharva women would follow Indra. So some ladies were carrying fans, some were carrying golden lamps, some women carried water in small vessels of gold, some were even carrying liquor, holding umbrellas, some were taking pillows. So like that, hundreds and thousands of women followed Ravana. And Hanuman was sitting on top of the tree. Sita was sitting down, surrounded by Rakshasis. And Hanuman, when Ravana was entering the Ashokavan, Hanuman heard the sounds of drums and the sounds of ankle bells of the women as they were all coming inside the garden. At that time, Hanuman saw this great king of Rakshasas with so much lust and pride and intoxication, with wide red-colored slanting eyes. Playfully, he was adjusting his upper garment, and he entered the garden. So seeing Ravana, Hanuman even more carefully covered himself with a dense group of leaves so that he is not noticed by Ravana or all his associates. So Hanuman behaved very, very wisely even at this point. He did not jump down and attack Ravana in anger, or he did not get overwhelmed by seeing the strength and the stature of Ravana or the associates that he had. He didn't get excited or he didn't get scared. He was like pretty neutral. That is another thing we learned from Hanuman. He was very, very cautious in every move. He always had a perfect plan in mind. He knew in his mind when he wanted to see Sita. There was so much clarity in Hanuman's mind at this point. He just didn't want to spoil anything. He knew I had come all the way here. I should not spoil anything in the last minute. So he sat back on the tree and he decided to see Sita only when no one noticed him. So he covered himself with leaves and he was quietly watching what Ravana was doing. So Ravana walked towards Sita and he saw the beauty of Sita and he was so overcome with lust. He was just waiting for her. The first thing in the morning he thinks of Sita. The last thing in the night he thinks of Sita. While eating he thinks of Sita. All the time his thoughts are about Sita. So with Ravana he went and walked towards Sita and he began describing her beauty and he was begging Sita. He was urging her to somehow accept him as her husband and satisfy all his lusty desires. So he was saying, you're a gem among all women. You're so beautiful. Every part of you is so beautiful. Please don't be like this. Go and decorate yourself. You are the best woman created by Brahma. You are one of his best creations. Somehow or the other become my wife. And I am your perfect match. No one else can be a perfect match like me. Whatever riches you want, whatever jewels, whatever gems, everything I have acquired so much in this kingdom. I will give you everything. I will do everything for you. I'll conquer this entire earth with all the countries and I'll give it to King Janaka. I will satisfy your father also. Please become mine. Sita, this Ram, he's not equal to me in any way. He's not equal to me in my austerity. He's not equal to me in my might. Not equal by strength. He's not equal by my wealth, by my brilliance, by my fame. He's not equal to me in any way. What is the use of that Ram? Why were you suffering so much in that forest? Now that you're here in Lanka, you can become mine. You can become the queen of Lanka and we can roam around with all the possible luxuries. You know what, Sita? I will give up all my wives. I have hundreds and thousands of wives of all kinds. I will just give up everybody for you. You just become mine. So Ravana went on and on and on, describing her beauty and somehow or the other asking her to become his wife. Then, after quietly listening to all that he had to say, Sita, who was tormented by grief already, and she was only thinking about her husband, she took a piece of straw, placed it between herself and Ravana, and spoke some good words of advice to Ravana. So why straw? We have seen this also in one of our previous classes about placing a straw in front of Ravana. Straw is like a screen. A chaste woman, when she has to speak to another man, she places a straw in front of him because it acts as a screen. That is one indication of why straw. It also signifies that Ravana is insignificant to her. He is lower than a straw. That is also one significance. Like that, there are many reasons why a straw is kept in front of him. Many commentaries are there. Like in some places, it is also mentioned that straw is an asan. So Sita was very well educated in the sense she knew the correct etiquette. She knew Ravana, although he's a demon and he's got all the wrong desires, she still offered an asan for him because he was the king and he was a learned Brahmana. So there are many reasons why Sita kept a straw in front of Ravana, but the main reason is because she wanted to put a screen between Ravana and herself. So she put a screen there. And then she said, Ravana, turn away your mind from me and be happy with the wives you already have. You have so many wives. Just be happy with them. I am the wife of another man and I'm very, very devoted to my husband and I'm really not suitable for you. I'm not, and remember one thing, Ravana, I am not capable of being tempted by wealth or money. I cannot be bought like this. Don't try to convince me or don't try to show your wealth or your all the fame that you have. All this is not going to impress me. I cannot be tempted by money or wealth. And first and foremost thing, I will not be separated from Raghava in my mind. Just like the sunshine cannot be separated from the sun, similarly, I cannot be separated from Ram. Ram is like a lion and you are like a jackal. So you can never become equal to him. Don't try to take his role. I have one piece of advice for you, Ravana. please go and make friends with Rama, and he will do good for you. He will forgive you. He will do all good for you. So just go and make friends with him if you have the slightest desire to live. So she gave this advice, and again, why did she say go and make friends with Ram? She could have said go and surrender to Ram, right? Because that is actually the best thing a person can do. They should go and surrender to the Lord. Why should they make friends with the Lord? This is the advice Sita gives. So there is again a lot of meaning in what Sita spoke. It is said that Sita didn't say go and surrender to Ram because according to Rajaniti, one king should not be disrespected by telling him to go and fall at the feet of another king. He must only make friends with the other king. So she says, you are also a king. Okay, you're the king of Lanka. I'm not saying go and fall at the feet of Ram. Just go make friends with him and he will forgive you. He's very, very magnanimous. He will not even keep anything in his mind. He just forgive you the next minute. But if you continue to behave like this, he will not forgive you. So one may ask, Ravana has acted so badly, how will Ram forgive Ravana and make friends with him? So the answer is like this. Take for example, there is a huge ocean. If you throw a small piece of straw or a branch of a tree, a small twig, okay, within a few minutes, what will happen? The water will push the branch to the shore and it will be ejected out. In the same ocean, there is also a huge whale. Now, this whale doesn't seem to be thrown out from the ocean within minutes. He lives in the water itself and the ocean accepts him. But the straw, the ocean rejects. So why the difference? Because the difference is in the thinking of the straw and the whale. The straw thinks, I do not belong to this ocean. I am not made of this ocean, or this is not my home. I am different. Hence, he comes out. He's actually coming out of the ocean, and the ocean lets him go. However, this huge whale always thinks that I belong to this ocean. This ocean is my home. I must stay here. So the ocean never lets him go. So like that, we must always think that we belong to the Lord. The minute we think I am independent, I can do anything myself, I don't want to be with the Lord, we are pushed out. So Sita Devi was trying to give him some good advice. She was saying, Mitra Maupai Itum Kartum Rama. That is the nature of a mother. She didn't curse him saying, I curse you to become ashes. In 1 minute she could have cursed him, Ravana, you become ashes. And because she was such a devoted wife, definitely he could have got burnt into ashes. She didn't do that. She was very patient. She just advised him, go and become a friend of Ram, and definitely he will accept you, because that is the nature of Ram. Ram is like an ocean. He will definitely accept you if you have the right mindset. So this is the advice she gives him. So, but if you continue to behave in a way of trying to impose yourself on me forcibly, then there is no other way. You will be destroyed by Lord Ram. So she gives this advice, and Ravana, when he heard this, he actually got very, very angry. He said, what are you talking, Sita? You're talking such rude words. Actually, for whatever you have spoken, I must actually kill you. But I won't kill you because I'm overcome with lust. I will give you more time. Somehow come under my control. I will give you 2 more months. If you do not become mine, if you don't come under my control, I will really kill you. I will kill you. I will chop you up. I'll cook you in my kitchen, and I will have you for breakfast. So these are the words of Ravana. He says, I will eat you for breakfast. So then Ravana, he ordered the Rakshasis to somehow or the other scare her or pressurize her and bring her under their control and make her succumb to his desire. So he gave the orders to all the Rakshasis around Sita, and he began to walk back to his palace. So at that time, just to enliven everyone and lighten up the mood, a Rakshasi by the name Dhyana Malini, she quickly came near Ravana, and to enliven him, she went and embraced him, and she spoke these words. Oh, my King Ravana, come and enjoy with me. You're the best of the Rakshasas. What is the use of this Sita? She's such a colorless, pale, wretched woman. Brahma has not given her the wonderful and best luxuries that is earned by your arms. She says, the body of a man who desires a woman who doesn't desire him suffers pain. That means, if a man desires a woman who's not interested in him, he only gets pain from that. Happiness will occur to one who loves a woman who desires him. She gives this. Actually, she tells this to Ravana. There's a lot of meaning in this. But of course, she's saying, look, I want to be with you. Why don't you just be with me? Why are you going and worrying so much about this Sita? So she says, all happiness will come to you if you are with a woman like me who desires you. So since I desire you, it is better you are with me. Forget the Sita. Forget the Sita, king, just be with me. So she tells this to Ravana. And then this is more like, a situation where one of the ladies, they come and they are trying to enliven the mood. She's saying, forget about the Sita, don't get worried about all this. She goes and she tells this to Ravana. Ravana embraces her and he laughs aloud. He looks back at Sita with very strong looks, again warning her, and then he walks back into his palace. So we will stop here because it's time. So we've stopped at a place where Ravana and Sita have spoken, and Ravana has given her time to change her mind. And he's given instructions to all the Rakshasis to continuously torture her and somehow convince her to come under his control. So, and at the same time, Hanuman is still waiting on the tree, observing everything, and he's waiting for a right moment. So in the next class, we will see what happens, how Hanuman goes and speaks to Sita, and what happens next. So we'll stop here. If you have any questions, realizations, comments, corrections, anything else, please go ahead. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preethi Mataji. All glory to Prabhupada. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful, again, narration of the Ramayana. I have a comment and then I have a question. Comment is, I was just thinking that Ravana was the son of a Brahmana. He was actually Brahmana. But look at his qualities. I mean, even in that time, you can see that he's not a Brahmana in true sense. He's just a Brahma Bandhu. He's just by birth he happens to be that, because his whole persona is that of somebody who's so low class, low qualities, human. What is it? Eating a human. I mean, he's willing to eat Sita. So much filled with lust, and then this desire for other people's wives and riches, and even no respect for family, because he stole his brother's whole entire kingdom and everything. So just again, it shows how quality is more important than birth, qualification as far as what you are. And it's funny that when you were saying the part about the mother and the child, and how the mother's always, everything has to be baby proofed and something. I was watching my grandson right at that time, and he jumped into something and fell, and I had to get up and calm him down. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just like, as you were speaking, I was living that event, so I just thought it was funny. So appropriate, anyway. My question, I guess, I'm wondering is, so Kamsa was continuously meditating upon Krishna. When he went to sleep, when he woke up, when he, all this stuff. And Ravana was continuously thinking about Sita when he was waking, as you said, when he got up. Can you kind of comment about that aspect, about, how is it different, how is it the same? My one thought, I was thinking of him, comes to think of Krishna, and Ravana was thinking of Sita without Ram. So I don't know, just some idea, some thoughts were sticking in my head. He is, of course, Jaya and Vijaya and Ravana Kumbhakarna, the three births of Jaya and Vijaya. This is also one. So I was just thinking about that. How can we understand that? Is there, is there a lesson in there? My question.
Yes. This is especially an interesting point, because there is some Definitely there will be questions in this. Like Ravana was actually lustful of Sita. At the same time, if you say in the story of Krishna, you will see that, no, not even Krishna. For example, here, Shurpanaka. Shurpanaka was lustful of Ram, right? She was very lustful of Ram. Ravana was lustful of Sita. So in both these cases, both of them were actually punished. Of course, finally we saw that Ravana was, he was an eternal associate and he was liberated. That's fine. But why the punishment? What is wrong with lust? Because after all, that is one of the moods, right? Like we see that especially with the gopis and everyone, not even lust, theirs was love, of course, but there is nothing wrong in it. That's the question that is often asked. The point, as you already said, is that one should not desire Ram without Sita or Sita without Ram. So in the case of Shurpanaka, she desired just Ram without Sita. She wanted to kill Sita. She didn't want Sita, right? So that mood is wrong. You cannot desire one without the other. Same thing with Ravana. He desired forcibly Sita without Ram. So that's where the problem is. But the gopis of Vrindavan, they were not like that. They always wanted to give Radharani to Krishna. That was their mood. So it comes down to the mood in which we desire. So is that what you were trying to ask?
I think so. I think that's what I was. I mean, I was just thinking about that and just, like I said, it was in my mind, and I was trying to not quite understand, but it was just, interesting parallel in a sense between them. So, but that's what I was kind of thinking myself.
Yeah, that's why even Prabhupada in the commentaries he writes, we do not worship Lakshmi without Narayan, because Lakshmi doesn't come without Narayan. Lakshmi and Narayan are one unit. They will come together. So similarly, Ram, Sita or Radha, Krishna, you cannot say I want one but I don't want the other. They come together. Right. So to desire them separately becomes it is not possible. It becomes like it's counterproductive. It's not useful at all. It only results in your destruction.
Yeah, I like that where you say counterproductive. It doesn't it doesn't grant that which you're desiring actually. Right. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preethi Vilasini Mataji, Pranam, All Krishna, Prabhupada and Gurudev. Mataji, I like one thing very much. First of all, you have taken us in the Leelas that much potently. In the second, you are given an example that is very, very moral. Like mind is cause of objects and mind and cause of liberation also. And other example you are given, a mind is like a child. Like a mother is always watching whether this thing is good for my kids or not. Like that way, Lord Krishna is taking away which thing is not good in our Krishna conscious. And so many examples you are given to me. Thank you very much, Mataji. By Hanumanji's role, you are given a step by step so many moral examples that work in our day-to-day life. Dandavat Mataji, all Krishna Prabhupada and Gurudev.
Dandavat to you, Mataji. Thank you so much. And thank you for expressing your realization so nicely about how Krishna is taking care of everything. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you so much, for telling my favorite story so well, so accurately. The very, very last point you made, somehow I missed it. You were saying that Sita was suggesting to Ram that he make friends with her. With Ram. She was suggesting to Ravana that he make friends with Ram. And he got angry about this proposal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was the point that I missed, why he got angry because he was feeling like, why should he, come down, I guess.
Yeah. He had a very heavy ego, and he was not ready. Like I was giving that example of the straw and the veil. He felt that why should I don't think I feel I'm independent enough or I'm great enough. Why should I go and make friends with him and give up on this desire to have his wife? So it was about the bloated ego. Yeah.
And he was, making all of these threats to Sita, but, I mean, he didn't care. So by making these threats, he didn't care if she succumbed to him simply out of pure fear. That would have been satisfying to him to have her succumb to him. Because he was, the threats he was making would turn anybody off, right? Yeah. So, he could not make himself attractive by making such threats. So that suggests to me that he didn't care if the only reason that she succumbed to him was out of pure fear. Certainly not out of any attraction after speaking to her in this way. So he would have been satisfied with that?
Yes, because that's what he did to all the women. So in the previous verses also, there's a big description of the different kinds of women he had abducted by force. He just wanted women. He didn't really care whether they liked him or they didn't like him. All that he wanted was satisfy his lust. It doesn't matter whether they were coming to him because of fear or because of love or because of anything. He really didn't care. He just wanted her. That's why when he tried to rape Ramba and others, he was cursed that if at all in the future he tried to take any other woman by force, his head would break into 1,000 pieces or something like that. So he never touched Sita. It's not that he was such a great, some people, oh my God, they make up stories saying that, oh, Ravana was such a great gentleman. He never touched Sita without her, her approval. No, that's not right, because he was cursed that he cannot touch any other woman by force. He didn't touch her because he was scared for his own life. That's why he didn't touch her. He was not a gentleman by any kind, not at all. Yeah, he's raped several women before this, and so many stories about the different encounters with different women and how he had so many curses because of his behaving badly with women. Yeah.
And another thing is that I thought that, because he was a Rakshasa, right? And so I thought that Rakshasas and Rakshasis, I thought they were all very horrible, had all very horrible appearances, physically very unattractive. But the Hanuman saw one of his wives who was, who he was mistaking for Sita, who was very attractive. So I was surprised that he had a wife that was very attractive.
Yeah, some of them were mixed, like a mixed jati. That is, father would be a Brahmin and mother would be a Rakshasa, like that. Apparently, Mandodari also had a very great birth, if I'm not wrong. Does someone remember the parentage of Mandodari? I remember hearing it once. Maybe I can look it up and then send it again.
How do you say her name? Mandodari?
Yeah, Mandodari. Yeah, that is the wife that he
Mandodari.
Yeah. And also, many of these Rakshasas, they could take different forms. In the sense, like Shurpanaka also, she could take a very beautiful form, or Putana for that matter. Their actual form was horrible, but still. But Ravana himself, by his father's side, he was a Brahmin. And on his mother's side, he was a Rakshasa. So he was also mixed. I think.
Okay, so that explains it. Because my next question was going to be, how is it possible for a person to be both a Rakshasa and a Brahmana? That seems like a contradiction.
Yeah. So for Mandodari, it says that she was her father was a demon and her mother was an Apsara called Hema. Remember this Hema Apsara? We went through the story in that cave. remember the story that we saw, that the Vanaras went inside the cave. Swayamprabha was taking care of Hema's cave.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that part of the story?
Yeah.
So that Hema, that celestial Apsara Hema, was the mother of Mandodari. That's why Mandodari is so beautiful.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't hear before that about this curse. That. So, were there other women that he had not touched, other than Sita, because of this curse?
I don't know. I don't think. I think after this curse, maybe he had not touched some of them. I'm not sure. But maybe Uttara Kanda will give answers. I
think it was Vedavati Mataji. Vedavati was the one that cursed him. Vedavati was the one that had cursed him. And since that time, he did not harass any, or he couldn't force any other women.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you both.
Actually, I've heard that the Uttara Kanda has a lot of stories about Ravana, what all he had done in the past, and that is where all these reasonings come up, like why Ravana couldn't do certain things in spite of being such a great Rakshasa.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you, Paneshwari Mataji.
Yeah, I mean, I know you know that I'm going to need this recording.
Mataji? What is
it? This. I said it goes without saying that I so need this recording.
Oh, sure. Why not? Yes, definitely. I'll send it off.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think Preethi Mataji has made us all addicted again once more to the Ramayana.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so fortunate that we are able to do it together because I've really not seen Ramayana in so much depth. It's the first time I'm doing it, actually. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, this is the first time, yeah. So I'm so glad that I have all of you.
That's amazing. Oh, my God. It's like you're doing it like it's the 100th time you've done it.
No, Mataji, I think it's just the association of all of you that is very encouraging.
That's amazing. Oh, my God. Lord Ram and Sita Devi, I think they have empowered you for sure. Otherwise, how is it possible? Wow.
Mercy, yeah, definitely mercy, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else has any questions or comments? Okay, thank you all so much for joining. We can end the call now. Wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving holidays. So, but we will have class tomorrow. Tomorrow class will be on the synopsis of the current Chaitanya Charitamrita chapter that we are reading, Teachings to Rupa Goswami. It will be a special synopsis class explaining the philosophy that was taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami by Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, who's very scholarly. So he will tell us about that tomorrow. I hope if everyone has little time, if everyone can join, that will be very nice. And of course, we will send the recording. So thank you all so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्रीमद् वाल्मीकि रामायण की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.